Come on down. You're the next contestant on What Would It Take for You to Leave MAGA? Yeah, somebody at Politico essentially built a game show this week, only nobody's calling it that. Although I like to picture it as a game show. You take MAGA voters, and then you read them a list of scandals, one at a time. Every time it gets a little worse. And every single one you ask the same question. Would you still vote for the guy? DUI conviction. Over 70% would still vote for their candidate. Taking gift from lobbyist. They still in. People seeing a candidate bullying employees at work. They still stay in. Blackface. Actual blackface. Over 70% would still support their candidate. Lying about having a terminal illness to farm sympathy. 69%. They lost 1%. But Politico kept going, and they could not find the floor.
They say, I have the most loyal people. Did you ever see that? Where I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
Now, personally, I think they needed to be a little bit more creative. Did your candidate breed mutant octopi to take over coastal urban centers? Would you still vote for them? And look, I kid, but there is a very serious piece to this list. 72% of the people surveyed said that they would stick with their candidate if they were accused of domestic violence. 66% would still support a candidate accused of sexual assault. That's disgusting. The only thing on the entire list that meaningfully moved that number down was leaking classified information to a foreign government. And even that garnered 57% that said they would still support their candidate, a majority, for handing literal secrets to a foreign government. And a Republican strategist said this, quote, "Scandal doesn't mean what it did 15 years ago. The rules have changed, and Republican voters know it." He goes on to describe modern politics, quote, "More UFC than civics class, and anything goes," end quote. More UFC than civics class. I mean, look, I've personally described this as being more pointlessly tribal than SEC football. But of course, this matters. And it matters now. Because on paper, November should be a genuine bloodbath for Republicans. Election forecasters just moved 13 House races toward Democrats. Toss-up seats jumped from 15 to 20. Trump's approval is stuck at or under 40% almost everywhere you look. Hell, there is a district in Texas that Donald Trump won by nearly 20 points in 2024, and now it is rated as a toss-up. And the Democrat that's making it a toss-up is Bobby Polito, a Tejano singer. And down in Georgia, Jon Ossoff posted one of the strongest fundraising quarters of the entire cycle. $20 million raised in 3 months. $42 million already on hand. His Republican opponent just raised $2 million in the same stretch. To stay with the UFC analogy, they are in different weight classes altogether. Forecasters had that race at leans Democratic. Now it is likely Democratic. And I've got to ask you guys in the comment, is there any scandal that would cost you your own preferred candidate? Either party. What would cost your vote? Not somebody else's candidate, yours. And be honest, because I think most of us, we'd like to believe that the answer is yes, that we would pull back from a bad candidate. And the polling above, though, suggests that for a lot of people, it just doesn't happen. So tell me in the comments what you think. And there is a real disconnect here. All of that movement, all of the numbers I gave you, none of it is coming from the MAGA base. They are not going anywhere. We established that a leaked national secret would barely move the numbers. The movement is coming from everyone else. Non-MAGA Republicans, independents, and a recent CNN poll found 30% of Republicans and Republican-leaning independents now disapprove of Donald Trump. 30% inside his own coalition walking away quietly, while the loudest 20% would stay loyal through literally anything, including those mutant octopi. And so the actual vote in November isn't base versus base. It is whether or not the 30% shows up angry or they just stay home. And there is one more number that should worry everyone, not just Republicans or Democrats, because according to new polling coming from Gallup, 80% of Americans are seriously concerned that political leaders will take actions they know are illegal just to win. 56% of Republicans share that worry about their own leaders pressuring election officials. So our election is in danger. This is bipartisan. Does anyone actually trust the refs anymore? It's on both sides. And Paul Krugman, one of my favorite guys to follow, wrote something this week that stuck with me. He wrote that the defining feature of this movement isn't even lying anymore. It's that convincing you was never really the point. You don't have to believe that 2 and 2 is 5. You just have to be the guy who says it loudly. You don't even have to believe it. 2 and 2, it's 5. It's confidence. And that's the environment we're heading into. A base that won't blink no matter what happens to their candidate. You've got an exhausted middle that is deciding whether or not to actually bother, and a country across party lines that is genuinely afraid that their government and their leaders might steal the election. And that's why I'm going to ask that you hit that notification icon, because the cable segment with 3 minutes and a horse race graphic isn't going to tell you which of the 30% stayed home.